Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Afternoon Roundtable, Season 2, Episode what?
Something. I don't know if we've kept.
We have Brother Tim behind the mic, and he's mic'd up, actually, I think. Are you mic'd up? Okay, good. He's doing the engineering duties today. Got Jason's going to lead this segment. We're going to talk about conspiracy theories. We touched on it a little bit last week, and it kind of generated a lot of conversation and a lot of stuff we'd forgotten about or didn't even know. So I'm going to turn it over to you and get you started, and then we'll go from there with it.
Okay, there's a couple things we need to talk about first. Number one, we're not medical or psychological professionals.
Yeah, we're not professionals.
Far from it.
Yeah, no. So this is just this podcast is we did research and it's for some entertainment purposes.
Correct.
But to begin with, the reason Tim is behind the desk today is he doesn't have a RFID chip implant. David does.
I got mine.
He's got his. I do not either, but I have my tinfoil helmet. Therefore, we're all three safe when we're.
You're protected.
You're protected because your RFID chip.
I'm chipped.
I'm protected because I have my tinfoil helmet. So Tim's all right because he's behind the camera.
You got to wear that
behind the lead blanket.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. I'll just remember I'll wear it to lunch, but I'm gonna set it down because I don't want to mess up my hair.
Okay. Please don't.
All right.
Is that a glare on the screen? Okay.
Good.
Anyhow, yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the reason conspiracy theories happen. Every conspiracy theory has a little tiny bit of truth to it, and people read into that. And there are two types of people that believe in conspiracy theories. One are the mentally ill, and for whatever reason, that's just a characteristic of their disorder. Mm-hmm. Other people are not mentally ill, and they project, according to the research, they project deficiencies in their own life, and they wrap around a conspiracy theory and use that as a way to.
They find a connection.
There you go. I was trying to look for the word. They could have some sort of paranoia, psychological projection, narcissism, insecurity, belief in the theory due to prior personal tendencies or prior tendencies. The people that believe in conspiracy theories also tend to gossip more. They're wanting to be part of a group. They yearn to be part of something. They have strong, many times misguided beliefs in either religion or politics or certain society type things. Now, I'm going to give a couple of examples, and we can talk about, and you've got some examples. Here's one I never heard of. Have you ever heard of the black helicopter conspiracy?
I have, yes, I have.
That was interesting. It said it started in the 60s, and the John Birch Society promoted it. It was that black helicopters were going to come in one day by the United Nations, were going to lead it and take over America, and America was going to become under United Nation control. Mm-hmm. It gained some steam in the 1990s, but then fizzled out. We talk chemtrails. Mm-hmm. That's a big popular one. The JFK assassination.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest.
The granddaddy
in my lifetime.
Yeah, and that's always an interesting one.
But you read part of the Warren Commission. I know part of your school work that you had to do, but there's other books out there about that conspiracy and the JFK murders and all the behind the scenes thing. If any of it could be reality, I think that one leans closer to reality than some of the rest of them we've talked about. But I think, was there government involvement? Perhaps, maybe. Based on the Warren Commission, it really says no, but there was a lot of people that were going to be able to gain from his death.
Oh, yeah. And plus Lee Harvey Oswald's background, being, a communist sympathizer,
right. And he was, and just the way it happened, the timing and everything else, and then his execution right as he's walking out of the jail in Dallas. So.
But you've been to Daley Plaza.
No, I haven't.
Have you not?
I have not. I've been to Dallas several times.
I've got to be there, and I went up to the building, the book warehouse, whatever, and you get to go to the window where he actually shot from, and they've got the markings on the roadway, so you can see where it shot, this happened, this shot. And I'm telling you, that shot, those two shots or three shots, however he made, could be made, even with a bolt action rifle. Yeah. If you were
a marksman of any kind.
Had the Marine Corps training. I mean, it's not impossible, and it's not unlikely. I mean, you'd have to be good at what you did, but it could have been made.
Yeah.
And then everybody said, "Oh, there's no way he could have done that with a bolt action." I think he could.
What was the video that was made? The Kruger video? Is that the group?
It's something with a Z, but it goes.
He was filming with a portable video recorder all the time, but he captured all of it on camera. So, and then I think when the president's head went backwards, is when they think a shot was fired from the front. But ballistics, I think, has proven that wrong. Some of the documentaries I've seen, hell, they've got bullets coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
So who knows on that?
Yeah.
It's an interesting theory, and out of all of them, that's the only one I can just relate to.
Yeah, I can see that too. I can. And there's some things, and that going to the government, the federal government, there's some things that we don't know, or aren't privy to, and some things I don't want to know. It's better that we don't know, probably.
True.
But once the Warren Commission released some of its findings, there was too much withheld. Everybody got hyped up that the Warren Commission was going to release some findings.
But they couldn't for so many years.
But when they did, there was just very little. Too much was that just builds into conspiracy.
It does.
It
But
does.
people don't take the time to read either sometimes, and they don't know all the things that the people that they talk to. But I think they neglected, like Tim said, and that was a dual commission, so a nonpartisan position that commission was. And it was a lot to be desired, but yet they were able to identify some of and counteract on some of the conspiracy stuff. So.
Oh yeah. Here's a fun one that everybody talks about. Elvis Presley's still alive. Faked his own
I
death.
probably believe that one a little bit too. But
He's in Grace Chapel.
is he?
Yeah.
Is he? Grace Chapel.
What about the New World Order? They say that it's a organization, worldwide organization that controls all the economy of the world and without people knowing it. Have you heard?
Well, I think that one's got a little truth to it too, as well. If you look at our economy and our economics and the way our banking industry runs, and I know zero about it, but it's still when you research a little bit and look at it, it's scary.
Yeah,
somewhat because most people don't understand how it works.
They talk about certain groups like the Illuminati, the Bohemian Grove meetings, Skull and Bones group, things like that.
Elvis is going to run it.
Yeah, that's right. UFOs. What do you think about that?
Well, I believe there's all kind of flying objects out there, and I believe that we're not the only.
I agree. I'm the same way. The only living thing in the universe.
Yes, and I think there's a lot of. For an example, went to a bachelor party here a while back, and we had a drone. My son had a drone, and we were flying the drone at night. And he could make that thing do all kinds of without knowing. I would think, what in the world? What is that? If I were an older person that didn't understand the drone concept, which I am an older person, but just not knowing what's going on in the sky because it makes a noise and it's fast, and so people can see or think that. But I think there's all kind of technology out there, all kind of satellites that may fly low, all kind of things that people could identify as a UFO. But Tim, I'm sure, and you too, have received calls before.
Oh, yeah.
UFO flying over I-40, and it was the Goodyear Blimp. That was the funniest one. That we
and the helicopter thing you're talking about, you had a case where the lady hired you.
Yeah, but then I was doing surveillance.
And the helicopters come by.
Yeah, but there was a hangar nearby. And I didn't know she didn't.
So that's what, there was a reason behind it.
Right.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that one too in a minute, the targeted individuals.
The fake moon landing.
Our grandmother didn't believe that.
Really?
Yeah, our paternal grandmother. I remember watching that in the moon landing on television that night.
She always accused us a way to raise taxes.
Yeah, she said they're just doing that to raise taxes to put money into NASA or whatever. And she said that's at Hollywood or in a desert somewhere. She'd say it's in a desert. And I said, no, they're on the moon. She said, how is a TV going to broadcast from the moon? And I said, well, we can't even get Charlotte.
I know. I mean, think about that. Yeah.
But anyhow, it was a lot of older generation, the greatest generation people. Some of them just don't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty amazing, actually.
The 9/11 conspiracy.
Oh, that's a big one. We talked about it
Yeah.
the other week during our 9/11 week. So
Yeah,
that one's scary. That one scares me the most, I think.
Yeah. Here's one that really bothers me is the crisis actors, where they say mass shootings were staged. The Alex Jones talked about that, and where he got sued for.
As he should have.
Exactly. Saying it was, that it was just a film, or it was a fake.
The Sandy Hook shooting and
Yeah.
all the rest, yes. And how ridiculous that's just stupid to even hear. But people believe it. And what's sad, Jason, the smart people believe
Oh, yeah,
it.
that-
Intelligent,
yeah.
well-read, educated people believe that.
Yeah.
They've never seen a school shooting. They've never seen, most of them never seen a dead body with a bullet in it. So
Yeah,
they have no clue. And they think just because they didn't see it on TV that it didn't happen or whatever.
Yeah.
He's the same one that went and said 9/11 was fake because there was no airplane debris.
He's even, I think, now I'm not sure about this 100%, but I think he's even gave some validity to the reptilian humanoid type thing. I don't know. False flag operations. This is where something major happened, like 9/11, but there was another. They blame it on somebody else. To it. There's even people that said Pearl Harbor was a false flag to get us into World War II. Vietnam, all kinds of things. The 9/11.
I mean, all of them. If you look
Yeah,
at it, we tried to stay out of World War II, and we stayed out too long. Had we stayed out any longer, it would have been catastrophic for Europe, of course. But we got in at a later date, finally, and with the United States and all the other United Nations or all the other allied agencies, we were able to win, luckily. But that could have easily gone either way because America stayed out as long as they could.
Oh yeah. Other false flag would be, they say ISIS was created and funded by the CIA, the Mossad, or even Hillary Clinton.
Poor old Hillary, she gets blamed very
I
much.
know, yeah. We talked about Sandy Hook. Let's see. The Clintons, there's a conspiracy saying they've assassinated 50 or more of their associates.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
The Jeffrey Epstein death. Here's one I wasn't familiar with, but it's FEMA. The Federal Emergency Management Association is basically a training ground to prepare, like when there's a disaster, they go set up little mini cities. That is a training thing for America preparing to set up concentration camps on U.S. soil in advance of martial law and genocide.
Okay.
I mean, I never heard that.
I haven't either. That's interesting, though. I never heard that.
The Barack Obama conspiracy that he was born in Ethiopia and that he's a Muslim. Deep state, that's a catch-all term.
Yeah, and that one's dangerous as well, in my opinion. And I believe sometimes too much government involvement and the deep state. I see where they're coming from.
I do too.
However, they're going too far.
Yeah.
And both sides are going too far right now.
Yeah.
But the deep state's another one that I can kind of
I'm the same way.
not accept, but I understand.
This is something I never heard of. It's called the Golden Billion, and it's saying that there's one out of there's 7.7 billion people in the world. Out of those, there's 1 billion people that are working cohesively together, and some without
Even
knowing it, that they're anti-Russia, and they're wanting to see the downfall of Russia so they can get control of Russia's natural resources. And Vladimir Putin plays into this. He uses this to his advantage, to gain support, But it's basically saying that countries all over the world and it's leaders and business leaders, all kinds of things, that they're all in cahoots. So that's an interesting one.
Well, it all comes down to the natural resources availability, and we're running out fast.
All right, this one's going to be interesting. The CIA invented HIV, Ebola, HDHD, HPV, and COVID-19, and spread it to control certain populations and to stimulate the medical industry, which they're getting some form of kickback.
Well, both.
Look at there's some
reality
form of
of what you just said.
Yeah.
However, we've had things like that before. Illnesses, vaccinations where everyone had to be vaccinated, and different things, the polio, smallpox, and all the other things. So it's just, I think it's cyclical, and that it's come and it just worked our way around, and we're still dealing with it here in the United States, of course, and it's even a new variant now. But that's probably got a little bit of validity to it, maybe, but I doubt it. I wouldn't want to argue that one because I don't know enough about it.
Let's go on to vaccination, since that's the next kind of.
Just had mine.
Okay.
Flu shot.
Some people are. I understand this. I really do. Is the personal choice. I get that. I have no problem with that. And I took the COVID vaccination and the boosters. The thing I do worry about is there's not a long-term, and I get why they had to. They had to do and I got COVID about a month ago, and I think if I didn't have the vaccines, it lasted about a day. I was sick for a day. Yeah. I was real sick. But after that, I made a complete recovery. Right. And if I didn't have that vaccine, I might have been sick for
probably
2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I get where they're thinking, and I do kind of worry. I mean, what is the long term? But
look at the front end from the medical industry standpoint. All these big companies, medical or pharmaceutical companies. Thank you. That have just their stock is just grown.
Oh yeah, I mean, and sickness is a money-making business.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that. I get where they're coming from on that.
It's conspiracy of light.
Yep, sure is. Here's something that started when you guys were young, the putting fluoride in the water.
Yeah.
You heard that before?
Yeah.
I've heard that,
right.
But, saying it was a way to, a communist plot to weaken the American population.
Mm-hmm.
Climate change.
That's real. There's no conspiracy there. That's as real as it's going to get. And if we don't do something about it soon, we're not going to have a world to live in.
Oh, I agree. But they're saying the reason for it to be created is to get higher taxes, kind of like what Grandma said about the moon landing, control your lifestyle, and more authoritarian government, trying to see where the government can push control a little bit further and further. It's kind of a test run.
Well, you have the fossil fuel industry that's pushing against it as well.
It's so much money. Yeah.
They want to pump it dry, and then maybe we can go to a different kind of energy source, nuclear, or whatever we might decide. But the fossil fuel companies making billions and billions of dollars.
All right, here's one that sounds like a conspiracy theory that was actually true, portions of it, but they have taken the true part and made it MK Ultra. Have you ever heard of that? It's a program that the CIA did in the 60s, 50s, and 60s, practicing interrogation techniques where they got volunteers and they utilized chemicals during the interrogation. LSD was one of them. And there was somebody that's famous that was a volunteer. I can't remember who it was. I'll have to do some more research. But it was a real program. Then they stopped it because they were like, this is not ethically or morally or medically correct. So they stopped it. And in 1973, the CIA director, Richard Helm, ordered all files destroyed on the project. That's been confirmed. Mm-hmm. So there's some validity to it.
Well, I guess they were looking for a truth serum type
That's
thing.
kind of what they were looking for. But conspiracy theorists have taken it and say that they're still doing it, and that the Jonestown mass fatality was actually a MK Ultra project, and they killed everybody after because they didn't want anybody to talk about it. So here's the best one of all: flat Earth.
Yeah.
We won't spend a lot of time on that one.
No.
The RFID chip implants in humans. We talked about that.
Mine.
Yep. Targeted individuals.
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar with that till you brought it up.
I didn't know anything about it. And working in a couple cases and dealing with professional people and saying they were being followed, and in their heart and mind, they truly were being followed. So I got to researching a little bit, found the term targeted individuals, TI for short, and that it's a function of the federal government that tracks people, certain individuals, just to see how it affects their mind, to see how what kind of reactions they may have to paranoia and all the other things that goes along with it. But these people truly believe someone was following it. The one individual with the helicopters, she would say every night a helicopter flies over my house extremely low, which it's unnerving. And and I'm doing surveillance just to follow up with all this stuff because this, she paid me and she wanted me to look into it, so I was going to it. I think Tim's working one now similar to it, but sure enough, helicopter about dusk comes flying over, and I look, and it's a government helicopter, but it's like Forestry Service type deal. It's a huge one, the old Vietnam era Huey helicopters, and they had a landing strip nearby, near her house, and it was kind of new, and she didn't know anything about it, which was odd because that worried her even more.
Oh, yeah.
Because she didn't know what was going on. And then cars following her, people following into her place of business, stopping at her house real slow, doing different things. So I was able to watch, and I never could find any real connections. One case I worked with a gentleman, I was able to see a lot of activity around him. Then I got to thinking, well, maybe his wife has hired somebody to watch him, or maybe he owes someone some money or something. I started looking at some financial things, and I couldn't find anything negative in his history. But he was the only one that there was some activity that I observed. But the targeted individual, look it up. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't know anything about it.
I didn't until you mentioned it, and I started looking. Technology suppression.
Yeah.
They're saying the government has so much technology that they're not letting the average person know about for whatever reasons, and that there's a money making business with the government has with certain industries and all kinds of stuff. So,
well, it's just like our Congress; they know zero about technology, and it's funny. Some of them do, but very, very few. But when they have hearings on technology and different programs that they're wanting to roll out, or government oversight for like internet or whatever, they're at a loss because they don't. We certainly don't understand it, but they need to be able to bring people in that do understand it and be able to make regulations, make oversight for things like that. But it's because we're not familiar. We just turn the switch and it works. And okay, it works.
Yeah, we don't.
Do we know who's listening? No. Do I care? I don't give a shit. But anyhow, do I think people listen to? Hell, yes, they do. They listen on our systems all the time. I think because I can talk about I saw a new car I liked, and next thing I know, it's on my Facebook feed, this new car or whatever. So it's weird.
Sports conspiracies. I'm going to go into two just real quick.
Wrestling?
That is not a conspiracy. No. It may be mildly choreographed.
Mildly. I'm not getting in there. That's
the two major ones.
Who wore the silver helmet in here today?
Hey, it's a prophylactic measure. It's a protective. Better safe than sorry. We can't have fun. We got to have fun here. The first is the Richard Petty winning his 200th race when Ronald Reagan was there.
Yeah.
They're saying that's and that Cale Yarborough retired right then because he got pissed because he said it was rigged.
Of course. Well, I NASCAR's changed. If we had Mark here, he could tell us about it because he works for him, or did. But I think there was some little truth probably to that too.
Probably.
Richard Petty's the king. He always will be.
That one and
like Ric Flair.
Yeah, that's right. The other one is the Muhammad Ali Sonny Liston fight where Muhammad Ali won with a phantom punch. It was like a jab, and it hardly made contact, and Liston went down and was knocked out.
Well, if he'd look at me, I'd probably fall down.
Yeah, they were saying, but it may have been more not so much a conspiracy as it was a
fall.
Well, or no, that he was making money,
gambling.
Gambling type thing. All right, here's my favorite conspiracy. I love. I just because it's relevant now is QAnon, and QAnon is based on Q is the highest level of security, I believe. The code name is that not correct, Tim?
In the government.
And Q is a person that has used that handle on the dark web and has put out all these conspiracy ideas, and people bought into it. Started on American far-right chat forums in 2017, saying that there's a cabal of satanic, cannibalistic child molesters who are operating a global child sex trafficking ring, and they are conspiring against Donald Trump. They were part of Pizzagate, which happened before QAnon but they used Pizzagate as part of that. Has been described more of a cult than a conspiracy theory. That the Trump administration secretly fought against the cabal of pedophiles and would conduct arrests and executions of thousands of cabal members on a day known as the storm or the event. Now,
Scary.
if I, as a politician, was going to arrest thousands of child predators, I would want it to be public because you could get, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You get,
Right.
but it was secret. So
But
that
they had an individual from North Carolina drive all the way up there to Washington, D.C., where they said it was happening into it was a restaurant, I think.
that was the Pizzagate.
Yeah, Pizza,
Yeah,
excuse me.
and
And,
that-
and shut
shot
the place up.
And he admitted that it was wrong and he figured out, but they were saying in the basement of the pizza restaurant was part of the business didn't even have a basement to it. Saying that there's certain politicians, Hollywood actors, or celebrities, business moguls, all are involved in this. It's funded by George Soros, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, the Rothschilds family. All are part of it. There's websites called 4chan and 8chan on the dark web. I'm not familiar with all this. I've just heard, but that's where they had their profiles and stuff. Supposedly, according to QAnon, there's a snuff film of Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin, was that her assistant, murdering a child, drinking her blood, and taking turns wearing the skin from her face as a mask. There's supposed to be a video of it. So this is how crazy this is. Planned Parenthood is harvesting fetuses for profit. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a member of the cabal. Antifa is part of the cabal. Jeffrey Epstein and Hunter Biden were all part of it. Here are some specific predictions made by Q that never happened. And this kind of QAnon is no longer a real driving force right now because all this petered out. All these things that they said were going to happen never happened.
Can I just say something right there?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm glad Pep Munday didn't run for president because poor old Hunter Biden's getting drawn through the damn mud. Can you imagine if old Dad had been
we'd be
president
drugged,
and
yeah.
they'd say, well, golly, let's look at Jason and David's background here. Oh, my.
Especially
10.
Now, these are specific things here that Q stated would happen and never happened. Hillary Clinton would be arrested and would attempt to flee the country before being arrested. John Podesta would be arrested on November 3rd, 2017, and public riots would be organized to try and prevent the arrest of other public officials following that.
Never happened.
A major event involving the Department of Defense would take place on February 10th, 2018. There would be a car bombing in London around February 16th, 2018. A smoking gun video of Hillary Clinton would emerge in March of 2018. I think that was the snuff video that we're talking about. Something major would happen in Chongqing, China on April 10th, 2018. There would be a bombshell revelation about North Korea in May of 2018. The Trump military parade would never be forgotten. It would be and it was supposed to happen. There's a group called the Five Eyes. This is real. It's an alliance between Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and the United States. It's an intelligence sharing coalition. Wouldn't be around much longer. Mark Zuckerberg was going to leave Facebook, and flee the United States. Pope Francis would have a terrible May in 2018. DNC chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz at the time hired an MS-3 gang member to murder DNC staffer Seth Rich. Here's a good one. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is Adolf Hitler's granddaughter. Obama, Clinton, Soros are all child sex traffickers conspiring against Trump. Now, here's a weird one. It didn't make sense, but they put it out there. Trump hired Robert Mueller to conduct the Mueller investigation as a ruse because Trump pretended to conspire with Russia so Mueller could actually secretly investigate the Democrats and expose the child sex trafficking ring.
Which never happened.
No. The Rothschild family leads a satanic cult. Joe Biden, this is the best right here. Joe Biden's inauguration on January 20th, 2021 was an elaborate trap set for the Democrats who would be arrested en masse and executed while Trump would retain power. Now, that never happened, right?
Oh,
So Q come back and said, "Oh, I made a mistake. Our figuring was off. It's actually going to happen on March 4th, 2021, and Trump is going to be inaugurated as the 19th president." Now, that's not right. You say he was the 40 whatever.
Yeah.
The reason they're saying March 4th and the 19th president is because their belief, the last president, it used to be you were inaugurated in March, and they said that's the last legitimate president that was inaugurated was Ulysses S. Grant, who was the 18th president.
Okay.
So every president after that has not been a real president. Well, that didn't happen. So Q said, "Oh, made another mistake. It's actually going to happen March 20th. That didn't happen." So he said, we had a misguidance in our figure, and it's actually going to happen August 13th. Never happened. So he never mentioned it again.
Yeah. They need to fire their analyst.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. The Arizona audit that happened.
Yeah.
They were saying that it was going to prove election fraud in the state of Arizona, and Trump would win that state, which would cause a domino effect, resulting in Trump being reinstated as president. All right. Here's the big thing about them. They say JFK or JFK Jr. would appear alive in November 2nd, 2021 in Dallas and announce Trump as the rightful president and install JFK Jr. as vice president. They believe that the Kabul elitist satanic people are extracting adrenaline from children's blood to produce adrenochrome, which is a real substance, but it's made from anyway. But they produce a psychiatric drug which keeps the people that take it youthful, keeps them forever young, is what they're saying. JFK faked his own death and is possibly Q, is what a lot of the believers believe. I believe Q is some guy that's probably 35 years old, that's never had sex before,
In his mama's basement.
In his mama's basement, that is a computer genius that is messing with people and playing this game and watching and getting his jollies
Think
off.
about this. What it would be one of our adversaries sitting back.
Or it could be.
Let's start all this distraction, Q being one of them. Let's start. Here's another one. It's laughable, but look what it did to us as Americans. The toilet paper shortage.
Oh, yeah.
All they had, I bet it was some group that said, watch this.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they're going to respond and react. And we can base that. We can just take that one issue. Okay, that's what they're going to do with toilet paper. They went crazy, batshit crazy. So let's do, there's not going to be any food, or there's not going to be any water, there's not going to be any gasoline. Then see the reaction that comes. So
Oh, yeah.
I do believe that's just testing.
All right, here's some things, and I know you've seen the bumper stickers. I've seen hundreds of them probably, where it has, this is the QAnon slogan, where we go one, we go all. And it's WWG, the number one, WGA. If you've seen that on a bumper sticker, that's what that means. Michael Flynn has even quoted that several times in public speaking things. They always say, trust the plan and enjoy the show. And if you have taken the quote-unquote red pill, you have achieved QAnon awareness. Now, Q did come out and say all these things that did not happen. The reason was because the government found out he was going to release this and had to alter their plans. So, but QAnon has lost a ton of steam, according to the research, because all the foundering predictions never happened.
Right. And I think it is losing steam over time, but I think it's going to start back once
Oh,
the
yeah.
election time comes up. One issue that I'm seeing is that we, as Americans, we idolize things.
Mhm.
We idolize people, material things, money. And so Trump being one, Biden, whoever you pick, and that everyone puts all their chips in one barrel and they go 100% QAnon, whatever it may be. And that's their release. That's their belief. And it even goes as far as religion.
Yeah.
So,
And I have zero problem with somebody voting for Trump if the reason they're voting for him is because of his political beliefs. But I have a problem for somebody voting for Trump if they're basing it on this garbage that QAnon's spewing.
I agree.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
If you're voting for...
But he sees a big
Oh yeah, he exploits that.
Right.
He's exploiting and I'm not saying vote for Biden or this or that or the other. I'm just saying I'll publicly say I'm never going to vote for Trump ever.
I think I can say that as well.
But
Well, I know I can say that, but it's just that's where we are right now. You got people that hate Biden so much they're going to vote for Trump, and vice versa. That hate Trump so much they're going to vote for Biden. Where I think both are going to collapse. That is my feeling.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I don't think it's looking well for either one of them.
I don't think so either.
But we're
in a
see.
bad situation. But I wish if Trump, where I would gain respect for Trump is if he would disavow the QAnon.
But he can't.
I know.
He's in too deep.
And he does that plausible deniability. Well, I've never endorsed him, but he does in a
Sure he does.
back way, So that's
This has been interesting. This is a lot of that I'd never heard of, so it's kind of cool to talk about. But and you got to put your helmet back on
Yeah, we're
because
gonna
it's coming back in on the closeout. But
yeah.
it's been fun. What do we got for last call?
I really don't know, Tim. What are we sampling today?
Breckenridge,
Breckenridge.
bourbon whiskey.
Bourbon whiskey, which sounds really good. So we're going to take a quick little break. We got to wear that to lunch today.
Okay, I mean, there's
I want to see the feedback.
No, you're not going to.
We'll go to Ethan's with that.
yeah. I'm sure we'll get some looks.
Yeah, may as well. She'll say I'm in.
Yeah.
We got to get Ethan up and some other people as guests. I want to bring them up and talk about some things here in the community that's going on. One thing I want to talk about maybe later off when we get off the air, but I think we need to do a segment on the homeless population.
Oh, that would be great.
Especially right here in this little area we're in, and maybe go out and see if some of them would be interested in interviewing and talking to us a little bit. So just what's going on in their lives and why they're homeless.
That's a great idea because every place in America is dealing with that issue. Small towns to big cities.
Oh, they are. And
rural to
we got to
urban.
do something. We got to do something soon. So anyhow, this has been fun. Enjoyed it. So thanks again. We're going to take a quick break. Be back in just a few minutes. Thanks.
See you.
Welcome back, everyone. Monday afternoon roundtable, our favorite part, last call. Tim brought us a sweet little drink in, Breckenridge bourbon whiskey, made with snow melt water from the Rocky Mountains.
All right.
Their claim to fame is the highest distillery in the world.
Oh, okay.
Like Mile High.
Well, Breckenridge, pretty high distillery. It's
Good looking bottle.
Yeah.
Good looking color to the.
43% alcohol by volume, 86 proof. Produced and bottled in Breckenridge Distillery in Breckenridge, Colorado. Have you ever been?
I've not.
It's beautiful.
I've never been to Colorado. I don't think.
Beautiful.
No, I know I have.
State.
And going back to Colorado, we forgot to talk about Denver Airport.
Oh yeah, the Illuminati.
The Illuminati, their headquarters is under the Denver Airport.
Yeah, I've been there 100 times to that airport. And I think about that every time I go in. I look at all these little. They say they got underground.
Network, the whole city
Yeah.
is what the.
Yeah. So
And Tim, you're behind the camera, but you got your cup already poured, didn't you?
yeah, his is
Pre-mix.
His is 2 fingered.
Oh yeah.
So anyhow, we're going to test this. But we had a good segment today.
Yeah.
Talking about conspiracy theories and different things, and then you brought up the Mueller report in one of your categories, and I recommend that if anybody's never read the full version of the Mueller report from the Washington Post. But then you talked about the JFK murders or assassination, and one of the best books I ever read on that was The Reclaiming History by Vincent Bugliosi.
Now he was the DA that
And
the Manson
murders.
murders, right?
He
Okay.
he has since died.
Yeah.
But it's, as you can see, it's detailed. They did a mock trial and brought all the evidence in to look, and I won't give it away, but it's an excellent book. It takes a while to read, but it's based on the Warren Commission report and different things about that particular conspiracy. And he took the bull by the horns there after he retired, needed something to do, and it's well written. So
And that's
I
good.
recommend it.
He was, an outsider. He was a prosecutor, but he wasn't in that district or whatever, and so he had an outside look, but he knew what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
Yeah. So let's try this little drink Tim's brought us.
All right.
Cheers. I'm not going to say wow, because it's excellent.
It's good.
And I say wow every time, but that's really good. It's just a similar flavor to what we had that Canadian whiskey last week,
It very much is, isn't it?
or earlier this week.
Very smooth.
Yeah. So I like that. What do you think,
I think this one has more of a front bite.
Dan? It's got a little, yeah, the flavor's a little more enriched, I think. But the snow melt water, I was there a while back.
Pretty
and,
smooth.
It is smooth.
in Colorado, and the gentleman I was with, he looked up on top of the mountain, you can see the snow caps, and he said that'll be water in 2 days or whatever, it'll come
Yeah.
down the melt will, so it's kind of neat. I was sitting in Golden, Colorado one time, I got there late, the crew was already there, walked in the bar, sat down, they were mad at me because I was running late, took Perry and Ann with me, and they were in the room, but I sat down at the bar with the guys, and they said, we've been, it was hot. I remember it was extremely hot that day. I told the bartender, I said, man, I just want a Bud Light. That bartender, he's an older gentleman in Golden, Colorado.
Yeah.
He put his glasses down. He come up here. He looked at me, and he says, look out that window. Boy, he said, boy, look out that window. I turned around, and there was the Coors plant. No shit, it was right there out the street. He said, we don't serve Bud Light here. I said, okay.
Hold that thought, and we're going to mark this on video to remember. We need to do a podcast on the Coors family kidnapping. You ever heard?
Mm-hmm.
Now that is a true crime doozy. We need to do that as one of the. That's a good one.
And we've got a couple recommendations on some true crime stuff that we need to look at and research a little more, and some local North Carolina cases. So it'll be interesting, involving law enforcement officers. So I think that'll be good.
Current events. The day we're filming this is the day after the Republican debate, and I watched
second one.
I watched the first one fully and basically took notes. And I'm a political nerd. I love it. Doesn't matter which side's on. I want to hear it. But last night's was just a cluster, chaotic mess, and I could not make it past 15 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I just elected not to, and bad on me for not. I appreciate you doing that because you're getting both sides of the picture. But I think it hurts that particular party when they get on there and act like children.
Oh, yeah.
And they can't control it. One, they didn't have a mediator
It was painful.
to watch. I'm
I
sure.
You watched the whole
I watched
thing,
the
didn't
entire
Tim?
show.
Watched it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard to understand, according to you, that it was difficult to follow what was being said.
They were
because
even
so
having
many
the interruptions, and they were even having problems understanding the moderators because their accents were so heavy. And I did too. I couldn't quite understand it.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have, if they're going.
It's sad that we have to go through all that. There's so many people, and they asked a politician, a pundit today on one of the channels, asked him, is there anyone out there right now that you see that could lead this nation in a direction that we need to go? And his response was quick, no.
No, there's not. I was very impressed with Nikki Haley the first debate, and I couldn't. I don't know what she said. I just couldn't get past all the crap that was happening the first 15, 20 minutes. I just turned it off. I did watch some highlights, but it was all of them arguing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Out of all of them, who do you think come out ahead? The one you watched last night.
well, the one I watched, I didn't watch but 15 or 20 minutes of it. Tim might be able to.
What do you think, Tim?
There was no winner last night.
Okay.
I think the first one, Nikki Haley come out. I think she did great. I mean, super. If I was a coach, she did everything she needed to do. She was strong on moderate points. She didn't hide
Nikki Haley was a good governor in South Carolina. You give her credit.
Tim Scott has a lot of good points, but
Now I did see the clip where him and Nikki Haley got in the
They did.
the
They
bad
got into a
argument. Like,
contest.
and then you had little Beavis, what's his name, I can't pronounce his name.
Can't say his name.
Yeah, he kept trying to get in there, and they wouldn't even.
Christie would be great, but
Yeah,
his law enforcement background, and I don't know.
and Christie comes across to have some sensible stuff.
Yeah. He's one of the few that's challenged Donald Trump. So a friend of mine gave me that the other day.
Donald Trump's a friend of yours?
No, he's not. But someone give me this, knowing that.
Let's go to something good. Let's go to sports.
Well,
Sports.
what about the Miami Dolphins crushing the Denver Broncos?
Kill my fantasy league bad.
Did you know the head coach, the young guy for Miami Dolphins, grew up in Denver? He was a Denver Broncos fan. He was a ball boy, or
Yes.
grew up in the
He was
Denver
a ball boy for the Broncos.
Broncos organization, become a assistant coach with them, and applied for the head coaching job, and they wouldn't even give him an interview after he had spent so many years, as a homegrown
Worked his way up.
talent. And he chose not to go for that field goal, which would have been a chip shot to break the NFL record for most points. So that shows some class.
Held by the Redskins.
Oh, I didn't know that.
1966, I think. 66. Redskins over the Giants, and they had scored 72 points.
When I saw that score, I went, "Wow!" I didn't see that game either. But
And there's a Native American group that is suing the Washington Commanders, wanting to get the name the Redskins back for the team.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
The face on the helmet is a true
Indian.
warrior.
Yeah,
It was
and
a painting of a
true-
true chief.
Well, that was our team.
yeah.
That was our
Well, they
team.
said it's a sense of pride, that it's not a negative connotation.
And I agree. Well, why?
And politics jumped in on that bandwagon and ruined it. That's all it is.
Well, that's cancel culture, and cancel culture affects both sides of the political spectrum,
does.
and it's a.
But what about the Braves? They've been able to hang.
I
on,
know.
Because I guess because it's in the South, maybe in
Yeah.
Atlanta, but still they've been able to.
Now
hang
the
on.
Cleveland Indians switched to the
They
Guardians,
switched, yeah.
but you got Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
You got the Golden State Warriors, which Warriors is based on a Native American.
Well, in response to that, I had a gentleman, because I was such a big Redskin,
Oh, yeah.
as all of us were growing up, and still am. But he goes, "Well, what if we called them the Whiteskins,
Yeah,
or what if we called them the Brownskins?" And then I never thought of that.
Yeah,
And
you're
I said,
right.
okay.
yeah.
I get
That makes sense.
So, Braves and Chiefs a little bit different, but
Speaking of the Braves, if they stay healthy, they'll win the World Series.
they're
They're unbelievable. They've got.
They're going to win.
I want to say they've got 5 or maybe 6 players that have over 30 home runs.
Mm-hmm. And they're having fun too. That's
Oh,
what I like.
yeah.
They've traded some players this year would be all-stars for other teams.
Remember the time we went down to Atlanta to see it wasn't the Braves. We went to see the Falcons play the Redskins. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a toot. Ooh.
Atlanta can be a fun city.
Oh God, we had the best time.
I think the best game in Atlanta is when the Saints come in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When the Saints travel, fan base is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Our little Panthers aren't doing too.
No, they suck.
Yeah, out loud.
All right. And y'all know I'm a diehard Yankees fan, but they're way out. I mean, they're going to be
Last
sitting
place.
last place. Yeah, they are, and deservingly. I'm not.
Why?
They ain't worth a crap. They
No,
spent too much money.
Yeah, they've got a great team. I mean, they got a 500-ish record, but
Can't rally.
they're just not. But I'm pulling for the Braves.
Are the Red Sox not?
I don't know.
They're at the bottom too.
Yeah, well, this is what I like, and this is going to sound opposite, because the Yankees are the most money and all that crap. But I'm going to enjoy the playoffs this year because the Orioles usually aren't in it. You got teams that are, the Braves are always in it, but there's some.
Brooks died this week.
He did.
Yeah, that's right.
Brooks Robinson.
Yeah, the human vacuum cleaner.
God, he was
The
good.
best there was.
Remember Boog Powell?
Pow.
Yeah.
We went to me and Matt and Rich went to Baltimore the year Cal Ripken had his last year and watched a 3-game series. And Boog Powell has a joint there at the ballpark. It's called Boog Powell's Barbecue or something, and it's got his big caricature of his face on there.
The last time I was at the field, what's the name of that field?
Camden Yards.
Camden Yards.
The ballpark at Camden Yards.
Yeah.
Where they,
I was there, and it was funny. I had the really nice seats, and I was at the bar, and the bartender, if it wasn't Terry Starnes, it looked just like it.
Yeah,
I got a picture of him, and I'll
Yeah.
find it to show you. But I said, dude, I got to make a picture of you. You look just like my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I mean, we laughed, but it was just a great time. It's a beautiful.
beautiful ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I always like going to Baltimore to see the Orioles play. That's
Every major league ballpark's beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish North Carolina or South Carolina could get a major.
Well,
league.
the Charlotte Knights ballpark,
It's beautiful.
and the
but
way
it's
they
not-
build it.
They did, but they can't grow. It's
No,
landlocked.
no. They did it. The parking would be an issue, but they built it underground so that way they could build up. If it they built it with the idea if we ever do get a major league team, we can add to
Yeah,
it.
okay, I can see that, but it's nice. It's one of the
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
best minor league fields I've ever seen. That one and the one in Columbus, Ohio. It's beautiful. It could be a major league field
Mm-hmm.
easily.
Now, y'all, did y'all go to any Hickory Crawdads games this year?
Man,
No.
not this year. I didn't.
Yeah.
Last year,
I
so
hadn't been in like 10 years.
they were doing really well.
Yeah.
I think they were in first place.
I think so. But that's fun to go. The minor league teams. I've been to the one in Columbia a couple times. And I just enjoy minor league baseball because
It's fun, yeah. And watching baseball live, it goes by faster.
Well,
you
you drink and talk,
get in the moment. You got the food, you got the beer, you got
one home run maybe a game. Two.
Well,
maybe if you're
and the
lucky, a foul ball maybe.
the minor leagues are always good because in between innings they always have something fun to
They do.
the silly stuff going on.
Yeah, and they get the crowd going, and they have one thing they do at the Hickory Crawdads is have dog night or pet night. I think it's on Tuesday, and you can bring your pet, cat, dog, whatever. Which I think they changed it where you can bring dogs one night and cat because it didn't mix well.
Yeah.
But and it never fails. The announcer, the guy that making the sounds, he'll
Yeah.
hit the doorbell, ding dong. Every dog in the park starts
Oh, I'm
barking,
sure.
raising his buddy.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Now, the funniest one I saw, the Winston-Salem, at the time, they were called the Warthogs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was there to see the Phantom of the Opera, which was during the Crosby invitation. They had a big ado. It was for all the big guests, and it was really high class and nice. Phantom of the Opera. Now, just imagine, these were true Phantom of the Opera actors that were there to do this. The Warthog Stadium was next door.
Oh my,
Well, when they hit a home run, they have the warthog go
that's funny.
during the singing of the Phantom of the Opera kind of mix,
Yeah.
and it was bizarre. But the poor singer, he didn't miss a lick. He stayed on tune and everything else. But you could hear that warthog every time they
That's
hit a home
funny.
run.
Yeah.
Next door, because we were at the football stadium and they were at the baseball stadium. But anyhow,
What kind of rating we gonna throw old Breckenridge?
Jason,
Oh, I enjoyed it. I think it's very good. I give it a solid 9 or 9.5.
I'll give it a big 9. High 9.
I'm high 8.5 because it's really smooth, good taste, good
Flavor's very good.
good package. If you hold the bottle up, you can see the ski slopes through the back of the
On the
bottle.
back, yes, you can. You need to hashtag them as well
I will.
and make sure that they see that. Oh, that's beautiful. I didn't even look at that. Did you see it on the back? Ski slopes.
Oh yeah.
And it costs a little more to make the presentation, but I think that adds to it, especially when it's in your cabinet at home or in your bar at home or wherever. So,
We've been fortunate that I don't think we've had a bad tasting yet. I don't think so.
well, that one lady wanted to test.
That tequila vodka.
Tequila vodka.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I mean, it wasn't bad as I was
It's
thinking.
just not our
Yeah, yeah.
because we're bourbon whiskey guys. But anyhow, and some people have talked. They just don't like the fact that we have the last call, and I hate that because I'm going to drink bourbon and whiskey the rest of my life and
Well, it's
Yeah,
all
it's
in
all gonna be
moderation.
okay.
It's
define moderation.
every person's moderation is different. I would say, depending on what you want out of your lifestyle.
True.
Or some people, I don't have a problem if they drink every day as long as they're drinking moderately consumption.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's its own personal.
Yeah, what's moderate to you is not necessarily moderate for me, or what's bad. I think it's you can't specifically say. I don't.
Yeah, and I'm not sitting here saying alcoholism is not a problem. It is. It's,
Oh well, any kind of
it's an
addiction
it's
is
terrible. Addiction.
Yeah,
But we have one. When we do this, we have one shot. And that's it. That's all we do, and then we go back to work.
One tidbit of our hometown, our South Kawa High School has a new award, a weekly award now. It's the Dan Hardy Athlete of the Week.
How cool!
I seen that on Facebook.
Dan is
Yeah.
our dear friend.
That's coming on real strong. So
Dan, we lost him 2 years ago,
yeah,
and he was a head coach, football coach there. Went to school with both of us, and he's like a brother.
Hey,
His brother Tim.
Here's something that gets overlooked a lot about Dan. He was my wrestling coach in high school, and my junior year, our team won the conference tournament.
wrestling.
Yeah, we were really good and had a great team, and Dan got voted conference coach of the year.
Really?
Yeah,
In wrestling.
You
Oh, I
wrestle.
didn't know
And Dan was funny about it because he always said, I never wrestled in high school. I played basketball because there wasn't a wrestling team.
No, we didn't have wrestling.
And
We had
but
football and basketball.
and when he became a football coach, they wanted him to be the wrestling coach at his first high school. So he kind of studied up on it and he knew it. I mean, he knew his stuff.
Dan's a great man. I miss him every day. We had lunch with him pretty much
Oh yeah,
every other day at least. Tim was a lot closer to him, but it's
he had a big heart.
he did.
He's very smart, very
he
kind.
he loved his friends, and I miss him all the time. So, little toast, to Dan Hardy.
Yep.
Yeah, miss you, Dan. Yeah. So what we got coming up?
Well, we're going to go to lunch after this and talk about some possible podcast episodes. So if anybody has any ideas what they would like to hear or see, let us know. But I've got a list of different ideas I want to bounce off you guys. But we got a lot of stuff in the works.
Yeah, and we're trying to improve. We're trying to get better. We decided, one of us may sit behind the control panel each time to kind of keep things rolling and make sure it works better. So we'll take turns doing that. That'll be fun too. But this has been a good segment. I've enjoyed it, and thank you everyone for joining us. And hope to see you next week.
Well, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment. And thanks for watching.
Yep. Love you all. Bye.